was actually against the Gruul midrange list in round 8, and they've been paired again here in the quarterfinals. So that's kind of a nightmare situation to get taken down by a deck and then get paired up against the exact same deck again going into the top 8. A bit unfortunate, but here we are. All right. And let's see. It looks like we are going to be getting things started, if I'm not mistaken, watching Sandosh with the 4-color Fires list, and they'll be going up against Selesnya Angels. Which is just, I got to say, these Angel decks are really fun to watch because when they win by a mile. They produce board states where they have 40 power in the air and their life total is at 50, and there's almost nothing you can do about it. But at the same time, the 4-color Fires deck also puts it in a situation where they have Omnath and Kenrith on the field, you know, and a situation where they also just have an incredible board state where things get out of hand. It's beautiful. You'll love to see it. And I think we're going to see exactly that here. All right. And we are underway. So my boss on Selesnya Angels.
All right. Crisis averted.
Yeah. Oh, all good. Yeah. Leading off with a turn 2 Giada. And Sandosh is looking at a hand just chock full of removal, which is exactly where you want to be. I think temporary lockdown makes a lot of sense here because knowing the Selesnya Angel list, Giada's about the only thing you're going to sweep up with that anyway. So might as well run it out and hold the Leyline Bindings and the Skyclave Apparitions for juicier targets.
Yeah, a bit of a delay.
Oh, no worries.
All right. We had a bit of a crisis. My wife got home and there's a big bug on the window, so I had to go get a ladder and squish it.
Oh, of course. Yeah, do what you got to do. No worries at all. All right. Excellent.
So I haven't played this matchup from either side. Okay. I would anticipate game 1 is probably in favor potentially of the Angels deck if they could get a good enough start because there's no clean answer. I would give favor post board to the Fires deck. We've seen this Fires deck have access to Supreme Verdict, which is the card you really don't want to see out of the Angels deck.
Oh yeah. Well, and one of the things that, you know, if you've ever played with Fires against aggro, being able to drop Fires into a board sweeper on 4 is about the best feeling, because when you're trying to resolve 5 and 6 drops, being able to hit, you know, being able to completely cut your opponent off so quickly it's really the best feeling. It doesn't get better. And so yeah, one of those Leyline Bindings is going to be coming down here, waiting until the absolute last second for max value like a pro. And that Karuga now, even if thrown right now, would draw. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say post board, we have Destroy Evil and 1 Vivian Reed. So unlike the Enigmatic deck, which will sack the Leyline Bindings, these bindings are pretty much here to stay ideally.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. Yeah, in this case, I mean, the main benefit, it's funny, you're right, both decks leverage that exact same card, but for very different reasons. Yeah, in the Enigmatic deck, it allows you to fetch up your Titans, your Comas, and what have you. But in this deck, exactly, they're here just because you're already running 4 colors in your mana base. And with Triomes and whatnot, you're going to have access to those land types. I mean, the domain is going to be very easy to satisfy. So, I mean, that's a Flash Banishing Light for 2. I mean, that's about as good a rate as you can ask for on those. All right, so here we have a Leyline Binding. They can, Leyline Binding was here. They also had the opportunity to drop Kenrith or the Cavalier. All would have been fine. In this case, going the more conservative line and limiting Mob Boss's resources, which makes good sense. Oh, and actually earlier I mentioned the temporary lockdown was probably only going to be scooping up Giada's. I was, clearly we have the Youthful Valkyries, and the Resplendent Angel was here previously, which can produce those tokens, all of which the lockdown could take care of.
Bishop of Wings.
And true. Okay, I guess this deck actually has a lot more great 2-drops than I was giving it credit.
Yeah, it's an unorthodox sweeper, but it works really well in this deck because it is basically deal with your opponent's stuff, leave mine behind. And the Cavalier and friends are here to play.
Yeah, and Maba scoops it up. I can't blame him. That was going to be a lot of damage coming in. And I can't think of a card they could have possibly hoped to draw there that would have gotten him out of it. Yeah.
Settle the wreckage.
And when in doubt, yeah.
Which is
Settle
funny.
is a beautiful thing.
Because these decks sometimes do play Settle in the sideboard, which this version doesn't.
Which is unfortunate, because, yeah, that would be great here.
So we're seeing a Lockdown come out, the Fables come out, the Sweltering Suns come in. I actually don't love the Bone Crusher Giant in this matchup. It does very little other than Giada. I think I'd rather have Fable just for the ramp, card selection. Your card quality is often better than just a stomp. So in this matchup here, we'll probably see Vivian Reed come in. Deals with the enchantments. Archon of Absolution can slow down all these dual lands, and it basically nullifies Fire's cast 2. Destroy Evil deals with both the enchantments and the large creatures. Normally, Shaper's Sanctuary is a consideration, but a lot of the removal here is going to catch all. It's really just the Leyline bindings. So I probably wouldn't dilute it too much, because the important thing to remember is you are a collected company deck. So you do need to have a density of creatures. So you'll likely see the Portable Holes come out and swap in some numbers there. Maybe cut out, like this version's actually playing a one of Resplendent Marshal, which I have to look at. It's the Mythic from Kaldheim, the 3 mana 3/3 flyer, enters the battlefield or dies, you exile another creature from the graveyard. When you do, put a 1/1 counter on each creature. So it's like a pseudo Lord static. There's usually one flex spot for.
That's interesting. That's one of those. Yeah, Kaldheim had a couple of those. Well, actually, every set has a couple of those mythics that look really interesting and that ultimately go on to do very little. And that was one of the ones from Kaldheim that didn't really make a big splash. But reading it here, I can see why it's in this deck, because being able to buff your entire team if you have creatures that are going to the graveyard. Although
I think,
yeah, this deck doesn't. I mean, we saw there.
I think
like most of the removal they're going up against these days just seems to be exile.
Yeah. Because even out of like blue-white control, they're going to have a sweeper that's going to deal with it. They're going to have Farewell that's going to exile. And here we see the 1 mana Leyline binding. When your 6 mana spells cost 1 on turn 2.
Yeah,
it's a really big tempo swing.
Yeah,
so
that's
a couple options here. We can see Karuga to hand. We can see Cycle.
All right. Yeah, so Karuga is in hand, and I have a feeling that Steam Vents or the Fabled Passage, either way, we're looking at fires. And this could be fires into a temporary lockdown.
So it depends on where they've.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Fable you want to keep probably for the Omnath itself triggering. And here really this Angels deck will have Skyclave Apparition. Pretty much is the only way, or if they brought in the Destroy Evils potentially, but a Destroy Evil here is a Destroy Evil that's not on your fires or your Leyline. So Omnath already kind of replaced himself.
All right, Resplendent Angel into with Giada on board. Righteous Falcon to Resplendent Angel, just casually creating a 9/9 token. That's a pretty sweet sequence. And just like that, Sandoich has some decisions to make.
So we know Sandoich has the Supreme Verdicts in the deck. We saw in the previous game that he did bring them in. Am I confused? Okay, so he plays 1 Supreme main.
Okay.
So they could dig for it. I like this line, just clean up.
For sure.
And an interesting sequencing line here is with the Fabled Passage, because you're not really taking advantage of the extra mana at this point in the game. Just gain 4 life on your opponent's turn because it triggers the 1 land entering for the turn.
There you go. Yeah, it's exactly what you need. Yeah, getting the Righteous Valkyrie off the field makes a lot of sense. That was the life gain that was really going to make the Resplendent Angel, a massive problem. Because without a life gain engine,
we are
Angel. In this case, it's just a 5/5 body.
We are the land now, so they can activate, make a 7/7 life linker if they want to still put pressure on without overcommitting to the board, which I actually like that line. You lose this matchup, I think, by dumping your hand into Supreme Verdict.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas this, you're still putting pressure, you're keeping your life total at a reasonable amount, and then you're left with the 4/4 behind. So your opponent can't necessarily kill you. We do know that Sandoish has access to Kenrith and at least Karuga in hand, so there's some trample damage coming through if chosen.
Yeah, and interestingly, Sandoish did not trigger the Fabled Passage, instead opting to hold it back, and then running out Kenrith and Karuga, drawing a whole mess of cards.
0 mana, 5/4, draw 6 cards. By the way, you didn't even have to keep that in your deck.
Yeah, it's seems good. Yeah, it seems pretty darn good. Yeah, so I mean, like we were saying with the Orion, we have the situation here where turns out Karuga also just quietly a really strong card. It's a 5/4 body that, like you're saying, costs you very little, almost nothing to run. And so Sandoish here is pushing damage. They can use Kenrith to gain a little bit of life if they want to, and then they now drew into the Supreme Verdict. So, get in the damage while you can. They've already cast their 2 spells this turn, so even though they have mana back, they can't cast anything else. The one downside to fires, I still think it's totally worth it. Being able to just free cast everything and activate abilities on a whim is pretty good.
So I think that was the reason that Sandoish did not value knowing that they were casting Kenrith this turn, valuing the 4 extra mana.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes a whole lot of sense.
Get a bunch of life, so Sandoish looking over at Mob Boss and saying, I am the life game player now. Fear my angels.
Exactly. Nope, discarding the Bone Crusher Giant. A phenomenal card, but at this phase in the game and in this matchup, not positioned super well. So that makes good sense. And they have 3 mana back to cycle the Triumph.
Small things covered, big things covered, life gain covered, all them goodies.
Oh, yeah. Now, sitting with the Fires of Invention, once you get a card like Kenrith or the Cavalier of Flame that just gives you an onboard mana sink, oh my goodness. I mean, the amount of value you can generate in one turn is unreal. And yeah, that's what we have going on here.
Well, at this juncture of the game, Mob Boss can keep punching in for 7 a turn, gain the life, but Sandoish is gaining, I guess, 5 this turn, access to another 10 next turn, just kind of going off like that. Mm-hmm. And then if they do sweep, they can always have the option, even if they'd like, if the board gets out of control, sweep, cast the second Kenrith, reanimate, and just basically say, well, I just got my board back and you have nothing.
Yeah, that's pretty nasty. Yeah, and here we have a situation, and Sandoish is taking some time here because there are a ton of options. There are a ton of different ways that he could play out this turn. Thinking about Supreme Verdict. The other option is the temporary lockdown would remove both those tokens.
Yeah, I like that line better because you got to get a chunk. These angels going offense defense could present a bit of a problem.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't really want to reanimate Karuga necessarily at this point, because you have cards.
Mm-hmm.
Your issue is not cards per se.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that is a nice option, you know, being able to reanimate Karuga later and refill is nice, but there's no rush. Yeah. Yeah, and just push in just a ton of damage.
Bone Crusher Giants.
Yeah, and Bone Crusher Giant was a fine play there because it just put an additional body on board that get him for additional damage. And otherwise, there was going to be another spell off that Fire's Invention that would have gone unused, and that'd be a bit of, you know, you don't want to waste those opportunities.
Yeah. Sandosh has the option to just reanimate the Bone Crusher in the graveyard.
Yeah, it'll be really interesting to see what this...
It'll be a big swing for a turn. Yeah. A couple of Resplendent Angels here goes off. A Giada, or not Giada, Resplendent.
Yeah, Resplendent here would be great. I mean, Giada certainly wouldn't hurt, although we know the Sandosh has another temporary lockdown in hand. So if this spins into some 2-drops, another Bishop and a Righteous Valkyrie, I mean, that represents a lot of life gain. So that's not nothing. I don't know that it's going to be enough here, but... And this is also going to be another token coming off that Resplendent Angel at end of turn.
It does push them over the threshold, so all their creatures get the boost too. Because it will be 12 life gained, puts them to 36 here. Makes the Angel into a 6/6. So I think this could be the turn we see that Supreme Verdict get cast.
Mm-hmm.
I actually like the line of temporary lockdowning first to get the bishops off, because Supreme Verdict leaves behind the spirits.
Right.
And they're
so
not,
actually,
the Righteous Valkyrie has more utility.
Mm-hmm. Looks like Sandosh is just going to rip it. Because then they can follow up with Kenrith. Or a temporary lockdown here, which would remove the spirits. So... And then leave Mob Boss with only 2 cards in hand. Although, to be fair, those spirits aren't really going to be doing much here.
I don't know. Yeah, I think I like getting Kenrith going. Just gives you better value.
Right, and now we have an opportunity.
You're not going to die to 6 power.
Yeah, now we can see Karuga come back. Yeah, Karuga come back this turn. And we have more life gain available off Kenrith. Or Kenrith can grant haste here, and they could, you know, realistically remove 2 of those spirits, which... That's not nothing, but...
I think I like the life here.
Yeah.
Because if Mob Boss has another Righteous in hand, it's 18 damage coming through, so you're still not dead. So you're okay in that line.
Oh, but it does give Trample. I had forgotten that activation does grant your creatures Trample. So, all right, that's pretty good.
I don't love trading the spirit. Like, you offered your opponent the ability to trade 5 spirits for Kenrith with you not having another Kenrith.
True.
I think that's a little... Like, Karuga, whatever, throw it away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Karuga did their job, but yeah.
I think...
That was an aggressive play, certainly.
See the Vivian Reed.
There we go.
Come down, 18 in the air.
Wow. All right.
It's been a very back and forth match here.
Definitely. Yeah. Just last turn, it looked like this was Sandosh's game. Absolutely. And now all of a sudden, like, all I mean, they still have a clear advantage. There's no question, but that Vivian Reed was right on time. Because, yeah, now we're looking at Brotherhood's End, which would take care of,
It's actually kind of
all the spirits.
It's kind of funny. They've settled right on that 27 life threshold.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the right line. Without knowing the composition of Sandosh's hand, you have to just turn sideways at this point.
Yeah.
They're going to be gaining a bunch of life. You have to assume in their 8-card hand right now, where every incidental thing seems to gain life, that they're going to have an answer to your board.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. When you're looking at an opponent who you know is running board wipes that can easily sweep you up, when they have that many cards in hand, you just have to assume, like, don't get too attached to anything you have. Just fully accept that you're probably going to lose all of it. Get in some damage now while you can. Yep. And Kendra's going to bring back Omnath. This is all prior to the land drop, so that's pretty nice. Just pure value right there.
I don't know why. The mana base just makes me laugh. There's just a basic forest. I don't know why just a basic forest makes me laugh in this deck. Because on paper, this deck's going to be like $700 just because of the mana base.
Oh, for sure.
And you're like, yeah, but I'm saving because I got my one forest. Better get a John Avon full art secret lair foil.
I was just about to say, yeah. Yeah, exactly. That one forest is, yeah, exactly. A John Avon a signed John Avon art is proof. It's more expensive than the rest of the deck. Yeah. All right, here we go. Skyclave Apparition coming down. Getting the fires off the field, which we know Sandosh has another fires, so that's fine. And even without that other fires, they're still in just a really good position here. I mean, something as simple as that Brotherhood's End is just gonna
righteous.
Yeah, the Brotherhood's End alone is gonna really wreck Mob Boss's day. And here it is, sweeping up the Skyclave Apparition and Retain. This also gives Sandosh a 4/4 body that they're now. Oh, looks like they're gonna reanimate the Bone Crusher first.
All right.
Right.
So we have Sandosh. We've seen one side of it, and we are seeing the other side with Gruul midrange. So Gruul midrange beat the Jeskai combo deck, and we see this vehicle deck now coming up. Who you have in this matchup?
Ooh, I definitely want to see. I mean, don't get me wrong. The Fires deck is fantastic. I'm a big fan. Sandosh is a wonderful competitor. But I really want to see this Gruul deck step up. And here we have the Gruul player keeping an aggressive one-lander with the Llanowar Elves. But I mean, Llanowar Elves into Scavenging Ooze. That's not a bad setup. I don't know. Like if I had to put money down on this match, I feel like I would probably lean Sandosh in the Fires list. However, I don't know. I'm excited to see this Gruul deck pop off. Now they did miss a land drop there. Sandosh saw that, but they got it. So that was their second land on turn 3. Llanowar Elves, keeping them more or less on curve despite some less than desirable, early plays, and then Temporary Lockdown coming in, getting some really good value. Yeah, with that Llanowar Elves, which cut them off from a
Dodging the Bone Crusher on 2.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, dodging Bone Crusher on turn 2 was pretty big. Just being able to at least. Oh, they had their one of Verdict.
Wow.
So that's got to feel bad when the one of you play the Lockdown, you get around there.
Well, yeah, and so this situation right now, the Gruul player was off to a bit of a slow start, missed a land drop, and Sandosh had possibly the best sequence they could have hoped for on turns 3 and 4. Being able to hit the Temporary Lockdown, get 2 targets, one of which was a key mana producer, and then followed up with the fires into the one of Supreme Verdict to keep the board clean. This is looking really good for Sandoish. However, Ameni here, our girl player, has still gotten Sandoish down to 9. When you're playing the aggro deck, you need to be pushing damage, and they've done that. But here comes Kenrith. I have a feeling that is going to put an end to all of Ameni's fun in this game.
So it's a little tricky because they can't gain the life this turn. So if you are able to rip a land, you can steal the Kenrith, and that does stop the life gain for a turn.
Mm-hmm.
And then attack with the Kenrith, offer the trade.
Yeah. Ooh, Sandoish turning card sideways because this does put Ameni on a 2-turn clock if they can't answer this. Karpus and Forest.
That is 1 off lethal.
Yep.
Seven damage coming in.
Well, this does not untap Kenrith, though, does it? Yeah, unfortunately, it does not.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah. No, Sandoish is sitting with 6 cards.
Low key, that attack actually saves it.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you can't afford to attack here because a Cavalier Flames or Kenrith from Sandoish, and that's it. So, wow. All right.
This is the part of the match where, as the aggro deck, when every card replaces itself, gains you life.
Mm-hmm.
I think the window for actually winning this matchup is probably turn 4, where you could kind of put them behind. Once they tap with the 5 mana fires, it's Channel Land is the third spell in a way.
Yep. Yeah. Wow. Well played.
All right.
So
as we go to sideboarding, we'll see how the Gruul deck sideboards into this matchup. Notably seeing Jengantha come out so Cleave can come in.
I think that's correct.
Probably get rid of the Sky Sovereign.
Mm-hmm.
Quick sideboarding there. So if you do enjoy this type of tournament coverage, as always, remember, Hollywood Pizza is here 3 times a month, 3 Sundays a month, bringing a variety of different formats, standard, explore, maybe historic. The schedule for March will be up soon. From what I hear, February is almost at cap already. We are pushing the limit. Today we had over 155 people for a 128 person tournament. People were showing up with Decklists, just hoping that someone couldn't show up and they could sneak in. So these tournaments are getting extremely popular. They are great run tournaments. And if you just want to catch coverage, Hollywood is here 3 days a week, Tuesday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern, streaming a whole bunch of content. There's also a bunch of great content as well up on the YouTube. So definitely check that out as well. And if you didn't know, big shout outs, big congrats. Mr. Hamhawk just officially became partner. He got that big Twitch bounty money. I heard he bought 2 Lamborghinis.
Just 2?
To
Why?
Throw away on stream. That's how much Twitch money he's making.
Little known fact.
Friday where he just beats up on viewers.
Yeah, so
big accomplishment there, getting Twitch partners. So congrats there.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. Appreciate that. Yes, I did. I've been pushing for Twitch partner for a little bit now, and this community, as well as the MTG community in general, came out in a big way to help us get there. And it was definitely a community effort, and it was really cool to get that recognition from Twitch. So it's exciting. It's cool. Actually, fun fact, that came in on Friday. I stream Monday through Friday on my channel. I got that email on Friday. This is actually officially my first broadcast on Twitch since becoming partner, which is kind of fun. And I can't think of any better place to be for it. So yeah, Joe, thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right.
So in case you're starting Monday, Ham is streaming 5 days straight.
That is true.
No
Monday through Friday.
Gruul's going back to the match.
Yes,
Gruul is off to a nice quick start. 1 drop. into 3-drop. The Lovestruck Beast kind of came in handy. Mutavault is a card that was part of the anthology that was one of the missing pieces. This deck has access now to 7 creature lines. Sometimes they play the Den of the Bugbear as well. So opting to take out the 1/1 here, this prevents the Lovestruck Beast. A land would have actually been really big there to be able to go Elvish Mystic into Lovestruck Beast. Yeah, there is actually... So what might have been missed there is, from a mana efficiency standpoint, they could have played the Llanowar Elf, chosen to give it haste, tapped the Llanowar Elf post-combat to cast the Lovestruck Beast.
True.
So you give up a point of damage. Do they have the one of Supreme Verdict?
Holy cow, there it is again. Yeah, if I'm a many, I am a bit frustrated by that for sure. Yeah, because it's not like Sandoish
you only
has...
need 1 if you draw it on turn 4 every...
Exactly. It's not like Sandoish has, 2 Supreme Verdicts in the sideboard that they pulled in. That is the only one in the entire 75, and they hit it both games so far. Cavalier Flames dropping 2 temporary lockdowns, which probably aren't going to be the most impactful in this game, so that makes sense. It's a whopping 14 points of damage coming in. Not afraid of the crackback at all, and Ameni still stuck on 3 lands. Wow. Yeah, and I mean, at the end of the day, Sandoish has been able to produce some pretty massive turns that have absolutely turned the tide here. Yeah.
When this deck this Fires deck hits hard.
Oh yeah.
When it turns the corner from I'm probably dead to I'm just going to hit you for 25, 30 in a shot. And who would have thought cheating on mana cost?
It's nuts, right? Yeah. Well, and things like Cavalier Flame and Kenrith, that's the thing with Fires of Invention. It's easy to read it and just think, okay, so I get my spells for free, but I am still limited to the amount of lands I have. And so you might assume like, oh, so I get to basically double up on all my, I get twice as much value out of the lands I have. But the truth is, you can actually get significantly more value than that if you're able to take advantage of abilities. And that's where cycling lands come in. That's where channel lands come in. That's where these mana sinks on board like Cavalier and Kenrith come in. And you end up in a situation where on turn 4, you can throw Fires of Invention. And on turn 5, you can very easily get 15 mana of value out of your hand and your board. It gets truly disgusting so fast. And then Karuga as well is the perfect companion for that. Because the problem with Fires, or the experience that you have with Fires, is you dump a ton of big things and then you run out of gas. Well, Karuga just comes down and just refills your hand completely. And Karuga being a 5-drop, I mean, that's what you wanted to play anyway. This video is brought to you by MagicJank.com, the spiciest cards for your sauciest decks. Buy and sell Magic the Gathering products and gear today on MagicJank.com.
Looking for the latest comic book to add to your collection? How about the last card for that Magic the Gathering Commander deck? Well, the comic book stores got you covered. Shop online at comicbookstore.tcgplayerpro.com or come in person at 30 North Main Street, Glassboro, New Jersey. Pizza people, are you enjoying the content? Don't forget, subscribe to the channel. It's free. Hit that bell icon as well. That way, anytime any of our new content comes out, you're able to see it right away. Hey, leave a comment down below as well. Tell us what you're going to play in the next event, or tell us what you're enjoying about the video. Don't forget, check out the description too. We've got tons of great content down below. And on top of that, we're going to have our tournament schedule too. So get in on it. Hope to see you.
I think that first hand was potentially keepable. Right. Having 2 Parhelions, but a Parhelion and a Rafine's Informant is really where you want to be. And mulliganing down to 5. Now, yeah.
Are we going to see the self-Thoughtseize Duress to put a vehicle into the yard?
Possibly.
We're going to see it.
Yeah, no, they
no.
chose to put away the they chose to put away the Asika's Chariot. I think if I were in okay, so this is the moment where I'm gonna say if I were in Andy Mega's shoes, I probably would have held the Thoughtseize and the Chariot. But I'm also gonna follow that up by saying if I were in their shoes, I probably would have gone 5 and 3 and scrubbed out. So I'm not gonna tell him how to run his deck because he's been doing a really good job today.
Yeah.
Here comes another.
What I will say though, I think that drawing the second Thoughtseize, I would probably have held it. The critical turn is turn 4. You know, their temporary lockdown's not going to do much against your deck.
Right.
So having access to hit that fires, they ended up having the Leyline Binding, so they were paid off to do it. But you were trying to hit that critical turn 3.
Ooh, and you're exactly right. Had they held the Thoughtseize, I mean, granted, the Leyline Binding would have shown up and kind of wrecked their day, but they would have at least had a discard outlet for this Parhelion.
Yeah.
Well, and to be fair, Greasefang's...
Mind you, their mana base is really bad right now.
True. Yeah, the Greasefang does have this the secondary option of just being a 4/3 for 3 that can just apply pressure on its own, and that's what Andy's using here.
Do you see Kenny? Could see Omnath with the Fable Passage.
Yep, here comes Omnath.
So I think, like you called it, if this goes turn 4/5, Sandoish's game, the multi-5 really hurt Andy here, just not having. They did see a number of discard effects, but oof.
Oh, that Skyclave Apparition is. I think that Skyclave Apparition was the nail in the coffin because if they were to draw, okay, they didn't. I was about to say if they had drawn a discard outlet, if Greasefang had been allowed to survive, we would have seen a pop off this turn. That would have been pretty devastating.
So
although
we know they put the duress to the bottom.
Yeah.
And 2 Thoughtseize. This version's not on Liliana the Veil. So once the Parhelion is in hand, it's pretty much stuck in hand here.
Right. Yeah, Rafine's in
and
format.
the big thing here, while they hit they hit a number of vehicles, but the issue was they didn't hit the Greasefang there. They could have kind of got in there. So we know the ley lines are coming in, and we know probably. Do they have Rending Flame? Nope, they can't have Rending Flame because of Karuga Companion.
Karuga. Yeah,
so it's probably just Leyline and Petty Theft, Brazen Bora.
Yeah, I think you're right.
So we see those Leylines Sunder come in.
Yeah, like the moment the screen finished loading, Sandoish put those Leylines in. I have no doubt. Because I have no doubt that this matchup is exactly why they're in that sideboard, and that's why you put 4 of them in there.
Well, I thought Sandoish was a pro. He only needs 1. We've seen that with Verdict.
Fair enough.
Does Sandoish have turn 0 actions?
Okay. And Andy Mega hanging on here. The Witherbloom command is going to be able to get a Mull, and they have Greasefang. And even the Thoughtseize, if they were to draw into a Parhelion, right away, then they have a way to get into the graveyard.
So how aggressive do you think Sandoish mulls to those ley lines? Okay, we see it. However, the Terra Sunder 2-mana answer.
Pretty great. Comes the Thoughtseize. Both of those are pretty juicy targets.
I think I still take Fires just because it allows. Like Omnath without Fires is probably more of a fair card.
Sure.
Whereas like Fires on its own lets you Karuga to draw effectively 2 based on what's on the board with like not standing anything else.
Right.
So do it on your opponent's turn.
Yeah, no, I agree with that because Fires is the build around that holds the whole deck together. There are some decks in which Omnath is the correct choice, but given that Sandoish isn't running a lot of landfall triggers, or ways to get multiple lands onto the field easily. And then yeah, getting rid of fires was the correct choice there. All right. Shocking in Temple Garden. Grease Fang, live and online.
So this line's interesting because it plays out to having both Satyr Wayfinder and Witherbloom command as 7 cards milled.
Oh
now,
no!
If they had milled,
the Parhelion off the top.
Shields are down.
Yep. Here we go. No vehicles off that hit. But yeah, Shocking.
Show me a boat. Okay, Chariot's
no
not
boat,
bad.
we've got Chariot. Yep. That's fine.
We do know though that Sandosh 1000% has Supreme Verdict because it's turn 4.
Yeah, we have seen that Supreme Verdict has this really interesting
every
habit
game turn
up.
4.
That one of one of the fun facts about Supreme Verdict, it is a lighter card. It does float to the top of the deck. That is just kind of the nature of how that card works.
See, he has it's full. It's the only foil in the deck, so it
that's
just a bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
See, on Arena, if you get the full art parallax, it works that way.
Got it. Yeah, so it gives you a priority on those. Yeah, excellent. All right, so here comes the Leyland Binding. However, yeah, that's just quite a lot of damage on board. Here comes another Chariot.
And the nice thing.
With another Chariot back, so even if Sandosh does have the Supreme Verdict, Chariot into Chariot can get work done.
Does not have Farewell, so... Okay, well, we are getting max value for these finals. Every game played.
Absolutely.
Let's see, Sandosh on the play. Will the 1 tear asunder or the 1 Supreme Verdict ring true?
I love it. But yeah, we have the 1 tear asunder, which exactly
Blue Robot
was the key there. And then there's also the Vanishing Verses could also help against Leyline. But yeah.
Yeah. 10-0 so far for Blue Robot. Looking to go the full 11-0 for the cash prize bragging rights.
And interestingly,
a slice of 3-day-old pizza.
Oh yeah. Oh, it's the best, right? As long as it's been in the fridge. On the countertop, yeah, maybe not so much. Interestingly enough, I'm looking at Blue Robot has gone completely undefeated today, absolutely crushing it. Meanwhile, I'm looking at Sandosh's record. He's currently 9-1, with his only loss on the day being against Blue Robot in round 6. So Andy Mega has already won this match once today, and here we are going into game 3. But the Leyline stuck with no answer.
No tear asunder.
Ooh. So here comes Grease Fang in fair Magic card mode.
Interestingly, out of Blue Robot's deck, we actually you sometimes see Graveyard Trespasser, even something like Wedding Announcement, knowing that the 4 Leyline of the Voids are in. Might have been a pivot that may want to consider making there.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Wow. I mean, that was about
that
was about the best setup. I mean, if Sandosh were to draw their perfect hand, it would have looked something like that.
So we need Tear Asunder. Look at that. Just every mode of Kenrith. We got haste. We got counters. We're going to reanimate a Skyclave Apparition at instant speed.
Oh, no.
To deal with the Grease Fang.
Yeah, but now looking at this hand, I mean...
There's no black mana.
Oh, wow. Oh, sure. Yeah. But yeah, so Blue Robot here, Andy Mega, is now sitting on 4 mill spells in hand with no ability to mill. That hurts. Yeah. That Leyline of the Void coming in absolutely clutch.
Interesting. Not going Kenrith there.
Okay.
No spell, so probably just a life gain here.
Yeah, I mean, at this point...
And this is
you
the
could drop-
downside we were talking about with this. The Graveyard Hate just completely shuts off the deck.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it's brutal, too, because, I mean, at this point, if the Leyline hadn't shown up, I mean, the game probably would have already been over, and Blue Robot would have taken it down, because the amount of cards they can mill based on what's in their hand right now, it's enough, so I feel very confident that they would have hit
cards.
A good vehicle here. Yeah, I mean, it's just a ton. So they would have found it by now, presumably, and, well, here we are.
Forced to block here. At least a pump. And I think they took out the Can't Stay Awake as well. So Terra Sunder, Grizzly Salvage, Mill over Parhelion.
Ouch. Yeah, so this is the moment where... Yeah. I mean, there was Beside there, which could have helped pop the Leyline, but it's just too late.
So Blue Robot at this point is completing their cast for 15 white spells daily quest.
Yep, that is what we're looking at here.
How far deep that to, and it looks like Sandoish will take this one.
Wow.
Pretty impressive run. Avenges the earlier loss to this very Greasefang deck and player.
Yeah, I'd say both of these players have, put together a really impressive showing today. And yeah, kudos to both of them for putting on a phenomenal show. And, thank you to both of them for, sharing their screens and letting us along for the ride, because this was fantastic. So congratulations, Sandoish, for taking it down. And Blue Robot, well done. Yeah, great job getting here.